Hey, howdy ho. There we go. All right. Hold on, I need to fix that. Sorry, I was in the middle of something when the timer went off. Yeah. So, hi. Welcome to the stream. Well, there's nobody in the stream at the moment, but welcome to the video if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch VOD, video on demand. My name is Mike. I'm a writer. I write. That's what I do on the stream. So I guess we'll wait and see if anyone shows up today. In the meantime, I've got work I need to get done. So I'm trying to plot out a set of 3 novellas, interconnected novellas, that I had the idea for this like years and years ago, like probably 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 10, maybe longer, I forget, a long time ago. And I had done up some notes. It was long enough ago that I was using blue ink to write my notes. I haven't used blue ink in years. So, and I'm trying to, this morning, go through and sort of move my paper notes over to Scrivener and start working on it properly. And the problem is that in the intervening time since I made these notes, there's been a bit of a spill. So I don't remember what I was planning to do for that part. So I guess I'm going to have to just make it up, which is sort of what I do as a writer anyway, yeah? Okay. So I've got my... Yeah. I remember this now. This set of novellas, it's basically a novel in 3 parts. Three different protagonists, 3 different point of view characters, 3 different stories effectively, but they do intertwine and they take place in the same setting at the same time and deal with the same themes. So, yeah, it's a novel, but I guess in 3 distinct sections. I think of it as 3 novellas so that I write the stories properly when I write them. And it fits into, it's the first part of a 4-part 4-book. Well, okay, it's not even 4 books yet because I haven't gotten that far. It's in the planning process. I've got 4 distinct points on a future timeline. I think of it as a future history timeline. That goes from this story that I'm writing now, where I guess the event or the thing that happens here is that we, as humanity, we cure aging. We solve the puzzle of aging. We are able to prevent aging, which means that nobody needs to die necessarily. I mean, accidents will still happen, etc. Disease is still a thing. Although I think if we can cure aging, we can probably deal fairly effectively with most diseases. Well, maybe not. And we're running into the end of antibiotic effectiveness, which is going to be hellishly complicated. But anyway, um, so we cure aging, which means that we don't need. There's no effectively no average human lifespan. We can, if we're careful, live effectively forever, or at least for a very, very long time. And this first set of stories is about the reactions to that from different elements of society. The second point, yeah, the second point in the timeline is sometime in the future. I haven't decided how far, when we're really suffering from overcrowding. Partly because no one's dying, or at least the death rate has plummeted, while the birth rate is staying much the same. And yeah, I'm afraid that. Well, I'm not afraid that, but perhaps unfortunately for some people and their feelings, this is not. These stories are not particularly sympathetic to religion. We'll put it that way. I'm making a solid effort to not be too antagonistic towards religion, and not be, at least not be dismissive and condescending towards religion. But given that many of the world's religions involve the idea that adherents of said religion should procreate and spread the good word that way. Yeah, so it's going to be, the overcrowding is mostly caused by the devoutly religious continuing to reproduce. Hey, we have a viewer. Hi. Welcome to the stream. Who is it? Who is it? I gotta check. Hey, female writer. Hello, hello. I was just explaining to nobody the new project I'm working on. So, yeah, I've got this synopsis version, this future timeline that I put together some years ago, with 4 main points that I want to cover over four novel-length stories, probably, although I haven't developed the latter parts at all really yet. The first point, which is what I'm working on now, is when human science conquers aging, and the reactions of various elements of society to that development. The second point I was just talking about is the overcrowding that results from that several generations later. Hey. Fair enough. I'm running late today as well. Yeah, I was up late last night trying to figure out a few things for some client work, and but it's kind of, I slept in a little bit this morning, and then I've got, I don't know why I do that. It's, yeah, over dramatic effect. I've got a new keyboard coming. I'm expecting delivery of that this morning, and I kind of wanted to get to the door before my wife, and maybe not wake her up. She's having a sleep in this morning. Well, she got up, she took the boy to school, came back, and went back to bed. She was not feeling well. She's tired. So I didn't want to wake her up. And I don't necessarily want to have the discussion about why I need another keyboard either. So I was hoping to head her off at the door. Yeah, I've changed the keycaps on my keyboard, changed the colors, and I've got a new shorter one coming without the number pad. Also with hot swappable, or not hot swappable, but swappable. It's called hot swappable. They're not hot swappable. You wouldn't pull out a switch while you're using the keyboard, but you can change the keyboard switches without soldering. You don't have to hardwire them in. which will allow me to test drive these new keyboard switches that I got. And if I don't like them, put the other ones back. So, yeah. Ah, okay. Cool, cool. Well, maybe I'm gonna hold off on the explanation of my future timeline until and if some other people show up. There's no point in describing it to a YouTube channel that nobody watches. But what I should do. Crossover. Got this random stuff. I'm prone to writing random little bits of notes and things everywhere and losing track of them. Yeah, this future timeline thing, was originally meant to be 4 or 5 short stories. So these 3 novellas was originally supposed to be 1 short story. I don't know that it shouldn't still remain that way, but I think I like this idea better. More novels. All right, well, now the question, male or female? Oh, messages. Uh, yeah, I figured. Okay. All right. 2, 3, 4. That's 6 or 7. All right. Anyway. All right. Yeah, I'll work on that. Um, I'll work on that. I said 9. I should be here at 9. I feel guilties, but oh well. Sleep well. Have a good one. And I have decisions to make. Hmm. Yeah. It's gonna have to be male. I think 3 male characters. Yeah. So I've got 3 main characters in this novel. I'll call it a novel. 3 main characters for the 3 sections. One's a scientist, one is a young religious person, and one is a manual laborer, middle-aged, recently widowed, recently widowed. I guess we can say widowed for the same for both genders. I don't know. Gendered adjectives are funny. Um, and I don't want to make the story about gender. I really don't. I want the characters to be able to represent almost anyone. Um, so, well, I mean, these are things that I don't know if you're supposed to think about these things or if anyone else ever really does, but primarily releasing this in the English speaking world, in the Western world. I'm not planning ahead for translations or other cultural contexts for this other than North America and Western Europe, effectively. And so the names are going to have to not be out of place with any of those places. So they have to be pretty bland, plain Jane kind of names. The characters themselves, I want to be fairly unexceptional in most regards, other than that this is their story. Um, sort of the story of it could be the story of anyone in this situation. It's really more of a story about the context, about the situation in the story, than it is about exceptional individuals. So they have to be not bland. I mean, interesting people, three-dimensional human people, and it's sort of up to me as a writer to make them interesting, I guess. Um, but I don't want them to stand out for any reason other than the events that they're dealing with. I don't want gender to be an issue. And so all three of them should be the same gender, because otherwise there's a comparison that will be drawn. You know, this character did this female character did this, that other male character did that, and maybe it's because of their it's gender is too charged these days, and the only safe way to deal with it, if it isn't the focus of the story, and in this case it isn't, best to avoid, because otherwise it unnecessarily complicates the story you're trying to tell. Now, I could make them either all female or all male, and I'm relatively indifferent in that regard. I was leaning towards female, actually, but society is still what it is, and this story is placed more or less in modern present context, slightly in the future, because we haven't developed a cure for aging yet. Although there are promising signs, we still haven't done it. So say maybe within the next 50 to 100 years. At a guess. Pardon me, I've got dusty eyes today. I can make them all female or all male. And the scientist, female, no problem. Male, no problem. The young religious person, male, no problem. Female, no problem. The manual laborer, this is where we get into issues, because the vast, vast majority of manual laborers are still men. And if I make that character female, then I'm effectively saying something about gender again. So my hands are a little bit tied there. I realize there are women who work manual labor jobs, who haul crap across warehouse floors, who work construction, who are, tradeswomen, plumbers and carpenters. I realize that these women exist. I know that, you know that, we all know that. But they're uncommon, and by making a character uncommon in this story, it defeats the purpose that I have for it. It undermines the themes that I want to explore at the expense of themes I don't want to explore in this story. And that's my I can point to this video now in the future when people criticize me for this story, and why is everyone a man? You sexist piece of crap. Burn in a fire. Anyway, I can point to this story and this line of reasoning as pre-existing the criticism I'll probably never hear or never have, because I'll probably never be famous enough to have the criticism. For people to criticize my story, they'll have to read it, and I don't know how likely that is to happen. So, yeah, it's all good. At any rate, this is my apologia. What's the Latin for in advance? My apologia in advance, whatever, we'll call it that. Yeah. I'm raspy again today, and I've got recording to do this afternoon. As usual. I'm coming up on 11. This might be a shorter chat than usual. Well, we'll see who shows up. I did say 9 o'clock, and I didn't start till 10:30, so I imagine a bunch of people who might have otherwise shown up said, yeah, screw it, he's not around. He's missing again today, and went off and did other things, which is fair enough. Well. Okay, so I'm going to need to have male characters. That's more or less been established. Let's... Alright, Facebook can go away. Random name generator. Go back to settings. I was playing around with this random name generator earlier. So I want male, surname, random, first and middle, sure. 5? Yeah, we'll go 5. I don't want to generate a life story. I don't want to avoid diminutives necessarily. I don't really want ancient ones. Okay, so we'll go all out. Okay, so we can. Oh no, we include that. I don't know what an Albanian name would be, or Azerbaijani. Well, we'll leave that in. Basque, and Bulgarian, Catalan, Chinese. Sure. Good luck with that. I think I want. Yeah, I'm going to. I'm not going to include Czech, because I don't want to have to deal with the typography involved with special non. I don't want ISO characters. ANSI only. And so anything. A lot of Czech names have accents and stuff. French, sure. German, yeah. Greek, Hawaiian, sure. Why not? Hebrew, Hungarian, well, whatever. We'll take all of the different ethnic categories. Igbo, not familiar. You know what? I'm just going to go all categories. All right. And if I get stuff I don't want, I can just not use it. There we go. Generate a name. Marcus Cornelio. Marcus Waterman. Victor Rosario. Patrick Danchev. All right. You know what? I'm going to go. Copy that. Marcus Waterman. Market. So we can go. No. There we go. Why did I undo that? Okay. Now edit. Paste and match style. There we go. And I'll get rid of. Okay, so I'll just do names first. Manual labor is Marcus Cornelio Waterman. And I also like Patrick Danchev. But I don't want. I want some variation in the names though. Rafael Fusco. Hussein. I can't pronounce it. I'm not going to use it. Well, masculine. I said Kristen. Okay. I've always thought of that as a feminine name, but fun guy Tracy Williamson. All right. There's a character I don't know. Neotolemos Humberto Damyanov. Okay. Regenerate, like the doctor. All right. Did I have avoid rare? Yes, I did. All right. I'm going to go and choose specific things now. So I'm going to go with Western European. And until I find something I like. English, yes. Dutch, sure. Do I include Scandinavian in that? Yeah, I suppose I do. I suppose I do. All right. Hmm. So now I have to confront some ethical issues with choosing ethnicities of names. Okay, sorry, not ethnicities per se, but cultural origins of names. So I'm including. Actually, yeah, because it is cultural rather than ethnic. I'm trying to, as I said, I'm wanting to focus on Western Europe, North America as a setting. Well, it's set in North America somewhere. I haven't decided exactly where yet, but I don't know if I'm going to pick an actual specific place or just make up my own sort of melange of any town USA kind of a thing. Um, because of course USA, right? It might be interesting to put it. So, if I'm going to pick a setting that I'm familiar with, it's going to be either Canada or China, because those are the places I've lived. Um, of those two places, where is this development more likely to happen? China. But then, okay, so then we get into political ramifications, and I don't really want to get political with China in this story. Certainly not while I still live here, if I'm honest. That's it's a bad idea. So, I don't, to be honest, I don't really have any significant political um, leanings with regards to China anyway. So, uh, all right. So I'm including African. I'm including Chinese, I'll include Arabic. I'm trying to include, I mean, any culture that's had a big diaspora that would be likely to be represented in, a standard Western society and who is likely to continue using traditional naming conventions. I guess that's what my criteria are here. Yes. Okay. So, and if I don't recognize a culture on here in particular, I'm not going to include it. I think that's, I'm not sure. I mean, Basque is a subset of Spanish, isn't it? It's like a minority culture in Spain. I'm curious now. What's Southwestern European ethnic group? Where are they located? Oh, France. Okay, I'll search for Basque Country, which is Pamplona. So it is Spain. In northern Spain, yeah. That's what I thought. Okay. So, not sure where I picked that up from. It's random brain furniture, I guess. Uh, so, yeah, no, I don't. Very small, sort of isolated, centralized cultural communities are not something I need to worry about, I don't think. Well, Arthur was king of the Bretons, but I don't think I'll include Breton in there. Bulgarian, that's Eastern European. Catalan is another. Boy, Spain's all broken up, isn't it? Croatian and Czech, I think we'll skip because of the ISO ANSI character set issues again. I'm already thinking to formatting nightmares. Esperanto, no, that's not a real thing. Is would there be? There wouldn't be traditional names in Esperanto. Nobody's naming their kids in Esperanto. Not even hippies in the 60s. Estonian and Finnish, no, again. I think most is, well, again, I want names that will blend in where you're not necessarily sure, not sure of the cultural origins, or rather, where the cultural origins of the name don't make a statement per se, like it's not unique enough or rare enough a naming convention that, not naming convention, but yeah, where it doesn't stand out enough. And again, this is based on my own, not cultural prejudices, but cultural experiences. So, um, German, yeah, Greek, okay, but that gives me letters I don't want to use too, I think. Icelandic, yeah. Oh, but I mean, the reason I was humming and hawing about the Scandinavian names is because a lot of them involve umlauts and things, letters that I don't want to use either. So I guess I can just spell them without, though, as you might do in a Western European or North American setting. Indian, sure. Indonesian, yeah. Irish? No, not Irish, Irish, like not Irish Gaelic, if that's what that means. Italian, Lithuanian, yeah, why not Maori? I'll see what comes up for that. I'm including a bunch of them, and I'm only generating 5 names at a time, so I'm not likely to see. I'm not going to see all of these in a list anyway. Polish, yeah, no. Again, characters and Western Europe, not so much Eastern Europe. Sorry, Chris. Russian again, different alphabet. Serbian, Slovak, Slovene, Thai, different alphabet. Turkish, different alphabet. A different character set. Yeah. All right, I think that's there. Do I want to include ancient names? Not so much. Biblical names? We'll see what comes up. All right. Masculine, first name, middle name. Generate a name. Torbjorn Lloyd Blake. Torbjorn Blake? Adolf. I think we'll skip that. Adolf Mikalakos. Oh, so it's mixing. It's mixing given names and surnames between cultures, which Juanito Isaacson. Am I going to have to just pick one and go with it? All right, so all categories and then undo all categories. And we're going to go, I want to see what happens if I just go English. I wonder if it means England English. Dwight Warner, Quinn Burke, Judd Wickham, Buddy Barber, Grover Porcher, Brooks Cox, Laurie Plank, Callahan Dobbs. Well, these are all very vanilla, very white bread. Absolutely. I don't like that much. Am I going to have to pick? I'm going to have to pick specific cultures for these characters, which means that I'm suddenly making a cultural statement, which I don't necessarily want to do. Should I just make everybody Chinese? Okay, so here's the, I guess maybe a shorter, briefer explanation of why I'm having such a hard time with this. I want the culture of these three main characters to be the same so that the differences between them are individual differences, if that makes sense. I want it to be all of their decisions, their actions, their any comparisons between them, any conflict between them. I want it to be personal rather than cultural. I want it to be read that way. I want no confusion about that. So actually making them all Chinese would do that for me, but I don't want it to be about Chinese people specifically. I don't want that to be a focus either. So I want cultural melting pot situation with names from various traditions, but who share a culture, that being, North American, if you want to call it such. I guess American. I guess I'm probably, I seem to be heading towards setting this in the US, so even though it rubs me the wrong way a bit that that's the default setting for stories in the Western canon, and that if you set it this is again the thing, if I set it somewhere else, I'm making a statement about the somewhere. If I set it in Canada, then it's suddenly a Canadian story. It's saying something about Canada and Canadians because the default is US. If I the scientist character, if I give the scientist character an Egyptian name or, an Eastern European name, then I'm saying something about, those cultures being good at science, for example, or, well, of course, the person who invented this has a hard to pronounce for most of us name, because that's the viewpoint of a lot of people in North America, for example. So, yeah, this is becoming more of an issue than I thought it was going to be. Problem is that because these names they have cultural weight, the mixing of first name and surname. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go all categories. I'm going to generate a first and middle name. I'm going to figure out what culture that comes from, and then look up a list of common surnames from that culture and just pick one. There we go. I can't do more than 5? All right. Demir Sukhvinder. All right, so my manual laborer has a name, Marcus Waterman. There's not going to be any way to avoid ethnic/race/cultural issues in this, which means I'm going to have to deal with them on purpose rather than by accident. So if I take a guy named Demir Sukhvinder and make him the young religious person, and again the vocal majority in North American religious culture is some flavor of Christian. So I would make them a Christian character. But if I have a character named Demir Sukhvinder who's a Christian, then there's issues of, but is he a real Christian? There's not that weight of religious heritage in the family, probably because someone in North America named Demir Sukhvinder um, is unlikely to be more than 4 generations North American. Which, I mean, again, it's not impossible, and not necessarily shouldn't be that surprising. It wouldn't be that surprising, I don't think. Maybe I'm misremembering North American culture, which is a distinct possibility. I haven't lived there in almost 20 years. Um, but it's not how things are portrayed in existing media, for sure, which means it will stand out in contrast to existing media, which means I'm suddenly making a statement. Um, is if he's got doubts, he's questioning things. His own internal moral compass is pointing a different direction from his religious teachings, and if he's not, basically, if he's Christian and he's not either white or black, if he's not, of the traditional Christian ethnicities, then that that creates an issue that it suddenly becomes the point. He's got these doubts because his name is Demir Sukhvinder, not because he's a reasonable, a relatively decent human being who's running into one of those sticking points with religious doctrine. Um, hmm. Okay. And yet, if I make the scientist named Demir Sukhvinder, nobody's going to blink. Oh. Oh. All right. So do I dive into this and challenge those tropes? Is that something I want to do in this story? I like the name Demir Sukhvinder. It's Turkish and Bosnian, is it, Demir? And Sukhvinder is Sanskrit, which is Indian. So Turkish Indian. All right. Demir or Timur. Is there an Indian version of Timur? That's Turkish Russian variant. Okay. Demir. Search Google. Demir Indian. Try that. Oh, so Demir is used in Hindi. Hindi. It's actually a very popular name in Hindi, according to the Googles. But it's, of course, written in Hindi. Pronounced similarly, from what I can tell. It's originally Turkish, yes, that's what it said. means made of iron. You know, okay. You know what? I think I am going to do that because the idea, yeah, I'm going to subvert those expectations because it bothers me. It bothers me a lot, actually. Now, Demir, Manid. That back over to here, paste. Copy. Okay, and no, I did not mean most common Hindu surnames. I want Hindi. Kumar. Kumar is pretty common. I guess we could go Indian surnames. That would. I don't need specifically Hindi. Kumar, I like. Khatun. 1 in 11 people, 1 in 11 Indians are named Devi. 1 in 22 is Singh. So I want a common, but not too common. Sharma. I knew a couple of Sharmas at some point or another. Patil, Gupta, Ansari. I want to avoid. I want to avoid a surname with somebody who's famous enough to immediately come to mind when you see that surname. Ram, Kumari, Khatun. I like Khatun. Demir, Sukhvinder Khatun. Is that a religious guy? Mondal by Kumar. I think we're going to go with Kumar. All right. Who is a Christian of some sort? Some sort of Unitarian or some flavor of Protestant, anyway. I don't think we'll go Roman Catholic. I don't think we'll go. Okay, and then so we're waiting for our scientist. Usman. Usman is Urdu, huh? Oh, I'm thinking of Kamaru Usman, the UFC world champion. Scary dude. Wolfric. I like the idea of it. Yeah, it's definitely Anglo-Saxon. Wolfric. All right, so who do we've got? Who do we've got? Oh, I can't word today. Who have we got? We've got Marcus Waterman, Demir Kumar, and Ulfric. Ulfric's kind of pushing it a bit, I think. Benjaminus? No. Regenerate. Where's my delivery? That's the question. Guy was supposed to be here before noon. And I mean, it's still before noon, but barely. I'm going to check my status. Yeah, sometime before noon it says. Which dude is this? Yeah, okay, whatever. Oh, it's that guy. One of it. Whenever we talk about moving. Oh, hey, Zedcore. Rowling. Well, in this context, rowling might work. Hi, by the way, Zedcore. Sorry, I was in a different window. I wasn't watching my chat. Um, in a sort of a present day quasi sci-fi literary fictiony kind of a thing, which is, I guess, this is what you'd call literary fiction. I'm examining the human condition in a present or near present setting. Rolling or row? Is it? Do you pronounce it rolling or rowling? Like row, row, row the boat, or let's have a row. That's anyway. Um, if I was writing a fantasy story, I would definitely steer clear of that. Um, hmm. Rolling might work, actually. Rowling. Patrick. No. Okay. Holger. Ricardo. Mm, Emil. Emil. What is this? So that's Scandinavian-ish. Yeah. Emil. 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 It's Emil. Emil in Swedish and Czech. Emil in Romanian. Emil. Emil. Emil in German. Ah, so that's a fairly cross-cultural name. I like that. So what do we have for a middle name there? Kosana? I don't think so. What is this? In Sosha. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Emil, come on. I'm not going to use their middle names anyway, so um okay, name's done. And all the ramblings that went into it too. So, I'm going to pop off to the bathroom momentarily. I'll be back in a sec. I'm thinking, I just was thinking about, as I wandered away, I don't actually use my Be Right Back screen hardly ever. So I was thinking of maybe I would just change that to a little, like similar to my word sprinty thing where I just leave my head cam there and have a little text banner going across the top or something saying I'll be right back. I don't know. Oh, Zedcore's not there anymore. Oh well. Okay. Well, I'm gonna call it a day. End the stream at 12 today. I've got a bunch of other work I have to do today as well. I've got, what is on my list? Check my list. Oh, I'm back to being behind on my list of things to do again. I've got to edit 3 YouTube video voiceovers for a client who's already paid me, so I need to get that done quickly. I've got to try a little tenderness. Yeah. Oh yes, I've got about a 1 hour audiobook segment to record and edit. I've got a probably 1.5 hour audiobook to record and edit, and I want to do that both today. Hopefully I'll have a keyboard to put together and test out. I've got to figure out my stories for these 3 pieces, although that's not necessarily today, but it's got to be soon. Today or tomorrow for sure. The balancing act is always, because I do both paid work and my own projects, which pay. I mean, the idea is for them to earn money. The things that I make for myself, for my own company, for my own business, but they don't pay right now. They pay over the long term, and so I tend to, and maybe I should shift my focus a little bit back towards my own stuff, but I tend to prioritize paid client work over my other stuff always immediately. So I get a job come in from a client that bumps to the top of the list. And I mean, it makes me popular with my clients, I suppose. My turnaround times are pretty good, well above industry standard. All right, well, let's. But anyway, it means I don't get a lot of my own stuff done in any kind of a timely fashion. I am going to expand this a little bit so I have room. So we've got breakthrough. That's the science. That's going to happen first for sure. And then the decision I have to make is, do I do religious first and then manual labor, or manual labor and religious? Now, here's the thing. One of the main places that they intersect is that the manual laborer, losing all interest in life, all hope in life, and basically feeling angry and alienated and disenfranchised from society for a lot of reasons, ends up doing the suicide bomb thing, which is another reason I couldn't make him sort of Middle Eastern origin, because that's just, yeah, that's not a message I want to send or say. It has nothing to do with it. I think it's going to be a car bomb. He's tired of living. He wants to die. He wants to commit suicide, and he wants to take a bunch of people with him. He's angry at the research lab at science for. Yeah, and I won't get into that till I write it. But anyway, he's angry at the scientists who have developed this cure for aging. He's angry at religion, and so the place where both of those things meet is at the research lab. And so he goes and yeah, okay. So that's I've just come up with that rationale right now. But I needed him to blow himself up at a protest outside of this research lab, and the young religious man, his fiance, is killed in the blast. He's injured and she's killed. So that is something that is sort of that's a main plot point for an intersection point for these novellas. Do I want to have the suicide bombing happen first in the reader's experience, and then so they have the religious guy first and have him go through his stuff, and then do the manual laborer suicide bomber guy? Or do I do suicide? Yeah. It's a big difference between the two of them. They do two very different things. If we've already had the suicide bomb, then we move to the manual laborer, to Marcus. Now, I guess I have names for them now. So yeah. So if we do Demir first and then Marcus, then there's sort of a sense of the inevitable. We know where this is going. Once when we're reading Marcus's story, we know where this is going. It's sort of it serves as foreshadowing. I wouldn't give it right away. Okay, so that's I like that. That works. That gets me where I need to go. What about if I do manual labor? I do Marcus first and then Demir. Um, hmm, that feels less satisfying to me. It feels less satisfying to me. Hmm. Okay, now I want to know why though, because I don't understand the decision. I can't be sure it's the right one. Scientist is first because we need the setup. We need to know what's going on, and chronologically that happens first. Um, they all intersect at the bombing. And yes, it's on purpose that the person who's doing the bombing, the suicide bombing, is not a religious person. Um, that is purposeful because extremists and zealots exist across all elements, all sort of other divisions of society. It's easier to radicalize somebody who's very religious, I suppose. But anyway, all right. So this this story, this novel, is going to be very, very different from anything I've ever written before. You know what? I'm falling less and less in love with that rolling. Uh, let's make him straight up Scandahuvian. Uh, De Jong, Janssen, De Vries, Vanderberg, Dyke, Baker, Janssen, Visser, Smith, Meyer. I mean, I like Van Dyke. Yeah. I'm going to spell it properly. I'm going to double check my pronunciation of that. Well, that's not loading. Okay. Yeah, Dyke, Dake. Anyway, I like that. Emil Van Dyke. That works. All right, random name generator. We don't need you anymore. Don't need you. I will watch that later. Found a YouTube video that looks interesting. And you know what? I think it's close enough to 12 that I'm going to call it a day. Okay, so I've got names. And I'm going to have to do some brainstorming on this and figure out some setting stuff and some story beats. Yeah, story beats stuff, plot points, that kind of stuff. And I do that best on paper with a pen rather than on a screen with a keyboard. I write with a keyboard, but I tend to plan on paper. It's I can plan electronically as well. I'm just more comfortable on paper. So, and that doesn't translate well to a video anyway. So, we've come up with some names. That's good. I'll figure out some ages and some character stuff. I mean, I could do that here and now, I suppose, but yeah, it's pushing past when I can reasonably continue streaming today, just today. I'm also thinking I might go back to, well, I'm certainly next week, starting next week, I'm going to go back to my Monday, Wednesday, Friday for a three-day a week schedule, which would be North American Sunday evening, Tuesday evening, Thursday evening. And that's just because this past Saturday when I streamed on my Saturday, it was chaos. And my son's home from school on Saturday, and I'd rather spend time with family than with the internet on Saturday. So there also, my neighbors are all home as well, and everyone's using their internet. So we had some technical problems and cuttings out, and I suspect that's probably why. One shared trunk line for the whole apartment complex, probably. So if everyone's home on the weekend using the internets, things get a bit slower. Anyway, so yeah, I guess if you're watching this on VOD or on YouTube, thanks for joining. Do the dingly danglies down there, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.